Hey, what is up, mortals? It is SBurkVA here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 3 of What If Izuku Met All for One. I just wanted to greet you guys by saying sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. So, we begin. He stared at his hero costume. Midoriya had specifically requested for it to be designed with a striking resemblance to All Might. The number one hero. The man whose path he had chosen to follow. Since he'd gotten this new power from the literally faceless man, he began to wonder if he would still be able to walk down that path. Midoriya was fatigued. His head hurt. His eyes burned with occasional teardrops trickling down his cheeks. Not because he was crying, but because he was sick. His complexion was pale with dark bags around his eyes. He threw up frequently and had a fever, all courtesy of his new quirk. Whoever had it before him probably possessed the physiology needed to travel through the rifts without being affected by radiation. But he didn't, and now it was probably killing him. Midoriya slapped his cheeks to keep himself awake. He hadn't gotten much sleep the previous night. His encounter with the Faceless Man brought him a task that seemed rather insurmountable given his ideals. Would he choose to carry it out and keep his power to finally become the hero he wished? Or stand firm and return to being a quirkless nobody? At points like this, he would ask himself the million-dollar question. What would All Might do? But he didn't. He knew exactly what All Might would do.
But All Might wasn't quirkless. He had a choice. I don't.
He muttered to himself in the locker room. His classmates, boys aspiring to become pro-heroes someday, laughed and joked aloud, having fun as they suited up for their first class with the number one hero. They were lucky. They didn't know what it was like growing up without those abilities that made them special. They didn't know what it was like to be a nobody. But he did, and he hated the feeling.
I'll never go back to that,
Midoriya snarled. Staring intensely into space, the sudden rage had come unconsciously, awarding him stares from the boys in the locker room. Midoriya shifted his gaze, uncomfortably wondering why he blurted that out so loudly.
You good, Midoriya?
Kirishima asked him with a concerned look on his face.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just remembered something that annoyed me.
Midoriya apologized hastily, fastening his red belt to his waist.
Let's head on out quickly. We don't want to keep All Might waiting,
Midoriya said to Kirishima, trying to change the subject before the redhead pried any deeper. Ha ha ha! Looking smart in those costumes, young lads. Now, let me explain the trial to you, All Might said to his students with a gutsy laugh. Midoriya smiled from beneath his costume. It seemed its peculiar design gained a look from All Might, no matter how sad or down he was feeling. Once he watched that videotape of All Might saving people, he felt better instantly. Now he got to see his idol, hear him up close, and even strive to become like him. The trial was just like a simple game of cops and robbers. The heroes would have to touch the nuclear weapon in order to win. The villains would try to prevent them from doing so. The students would have to be paired up in twos. On the mention of villains, Midoriya remembered something. There was someone else in the class linked with this faceless man. It was part of the things he was told in their brief encounter yesterday. Who was the mole? This video is sponsored by Skillshare. With the services Skillshare provides, you can get access to many in-depth tutorial videos on basically anything you want to learn. Each class that they have is bound to help you with your creative endeavors. Do you want to learn how to make videos like this one? Do you want to learn how to write scripts or edit audio? Skillshare has you covered. And with our link, you can have a 14-day free trial. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link now and get 14 days worth of classes free. Link in the description below. Uraraka Ochaka. They would be the heroes, and the villains would be the team of Bakugo and Tenya Ida.
Not to sound cocky, but shouldn't this test be a piece of cake with your quirk? I mean, you could literally just teleport us to where the bomb is, and we win,
Uraraka said to Midoriya as they discussed strategy.
I wish I could. But my quirk isn't that easy. You see, there's a range I need to be in with where I want to go for my quirk to work. I also have to see where I want to go to get there. And I can't really use this quirk for an extended period of time since it takes a huge toll on my body,
Midoriya explained to her.
Ah, I see. Well, my quirk makes things I touch float. If I use it too much, I'll throw up.
Uraraka told Midoriya.
Well, I think we'll receive a lot of heavy attacking from Bakugo. We haven't really been on good terms, so I'll try to defend from his attacks as much as I can while we make our way to the weapon,
Midoriya suggested to Uraraka as they walked toward the building. Midoriya took the lead, his hand running along the walls. He was expecting Bakugo, his childhood rival. Bakugo seemed to be angry with him for some reason he couldn't understand. Knowing his feisty character, he was sure Bakugo was coming for him. From the corner, a red blur leapt into blue. Bakugo aimed an explosion directly at Midoriya. He was expecting the attack, though. Izuku grabbed Uraraka and rolled, avoiding the attack. Afraid to stand and fight? Bakugo asked. He'd taken a huge chunk out of the wall with his attack.
I knew you'd come, Kacchan. It's just like you. Picking on me. Have you ever tried to understand me?
Midoriya asked, his emotions flaring as he got to his feet. He felt nauseous. Moving around was hard for him. He wasn't sure he'd be able to use his quirk much in this battle. Getting emotional? Oh, please spare me. If you want to cry, you can do that somewhere else. Talk is cheap here. All that matters is the winner. Bakugo yelled at Midoriya, charging toward the boy. His right arm swung towards Midoriya, aiming to unleash an explosion right into his face. Gah! Midoriya cringed distastefully. He knew Bakugo's style of fighting all too well. Midoriya crouched, letting Bakugo swing wildly. He aimed an open palm thrust at his midsection. Bakugo saw the attack, dropping his left arm to guard his torso. Midoriya figured his friend would have at least that much reaction time. With a flick of his left wrist, he tore open a small rift. It appeared in front of his right palm. He looked up, diverting his eyes to the space behind Bakugo around his head. Another rift opened. Midoriya's open palm passed through the rifts, coming out behind Bakugo. Izuku reached out and grabbed a huge tuft of Bakugo's hair, yanking him backwards. Midoriya managed to knock Bakugo off balance and cause him to fall flat on his back. Quickly, Izuku leapt away, putting space between them.
That was amazing, Deku. This is our opening. Let's run now that he's disoriented.
Uraraka chimed in with determination.
No, you go alone, Uraraka. I'll catch up with you. I'm not going to be pushed around anymore. I have the power to change myself now. I'll beat you now, Kacchan!
Midoriya had a fierce look on his face, one he hadn't worn ever. He was changing. He knew it since that day he got these powers, and now he felt he deserved to change. He wouldn't get hurt. He would be hurting people now.
If you say so, Deku. That wasn't the plan, but be safe. I know we'll win this.
Uraraka said with an unsure look on her face, to which Midoriya gave a slight nod as she ran ahead.
Remember when I said I wasn't trying to compete with you, Bakugo? I was telling the truth. 'Cause you aren't even worth competing with me.
You're finally showing your true colors, huh, Deku? I'll wipe that smile off your face, Bakugo yelled, his hands bubbling with explosive sweat. From the room where the students in All Might monitored the trial, the number one hero looked on with a concerned look on his face. He wondered if he'd have to stop this battle. Thank you all for sticking around, and I hope that you enjoyed. Before you leave, we would just like to let you know that We the Celestials has many other channels for your entertainment and viewing purposes. All the information you'll need is right below here in the description. So, feel free to check out all the other incredible projects our team creates. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. That's all for today's video, so goodbye, and have a divine day.